Oh, it actually worked where you were already in there. How about that?
It's impressive, isn't it? Welcome in. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I hear you fine.
All right. Welcome in. Monday morning edition, Oxford Exxon Podcast. We are not in the same location. Still waiting on our part to be fixed. But you know what? Want to talk to you guys. Talk to you live. Better than nothing. So let's hang out here. As a good thing going on in the sports world, not necessarily in the Ole Miss world over the weekend, as the baseball season has been over for a while, and portal news still coming from that standpoint. So again, good show for you. Hopefully today, a show brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. You know about the lunch specials. You know about the ribs. Everything here local. But they're opening a new Blue Sky in Brookhaven. That's going on starting today. So if you're in that area, you already know you're going to get homemade donuts. But in addition to that, they've got specials running June 12th through June 16th. Grand opening $1 day specials, 4-pack mini donuts, frozen drinks of any size, any burger, hot dog, sausage dog, any breakfast biscuit, any size coffee. They've got 12-pack Coke products. They've got those two for $9. A lot of stuff going on. So stop in there in Brookhaven if you're in the area as a new Blue Skies opening. Again, at least Neal coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
I am Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle. There's no haggle. You get your quote. The rest completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. And that is hop into a Clark Ford today. Corey wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. He'll prove to you what that means when you make the call. 662-257-1900. Guests will join at some point this week on the myperfectfranchise.net hotline. If you're a displaced corporate executive wanting to put your career in your own hands, you're an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify, Andy Ludicky can help. He's a longtime Rivals board member, a diehard college football fan, franchise veteran. He owns multiple franchises and businesses, uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So you've got nothing to lose. Put your life and your career in your own hands. It's 100% free. MyPerfectFranchise.net, Andy at MyPerfectFranchise.net, or 404-973-9901.
I can tell we're getting plenty of we call it love, but Wes Rucker mentions there in the feed is the I'm really pulling for Southern Miss today. Sorry, Mark. I would love a Golden Eagle victory just for multiples of reasons that are somewhat anti-Tennessee baseball and definitely pro Scott Berry as he's finishing out his last season there in Hattiesburg. But yeah, we're down to two. Maybe we should do. I mean, we're not really well liked by many of them anyway. We could do some media power rankings every week on what's the dumbest thing said because we did Mandel last week. We talked about that on Wednesday, Thursday, whatever day that show was. It was Thursday. The two things from the weekend are Wes with his Southern Miss press box shenanigans. When Southern Miss's press box is 5 times better than Tennessee's, it's not even close. Actually, Southern Miss's press box is better than Ole Miss State's press box. And then two, Kevin Skarbinski of AL.com blaming the umpires for Alabama losing the series to Wake Forest over the weekend. Those are our finalists as we get into this Monday.
Whoa. All right. Hold up. God. All right. So I expect that from one, but Skarbinski.
Oh, you expect it from both. Come on.
I go way back with Kevin though.
Okay. I'm yours.
Now look, I didn't watch the series, but I saw the scores. It's been my experience that when a team gets throttled twice, it wasn't the umpires.
Well, it was close game in the first game. Close game, 5-4 final.
Okay.
He picked out a check swing in the 5th inning of game 1 that did not go the Tigers' way, and that not only changed the complexion and the score of that game, but it just killed all the momentum for the next day and led to the blowout as well.
Okay.
Against the number 1 team in the country that won 22-5 in game 2 against Alabama.
A team playing at home who's ranked number 1, who most everyone assumes is not only getting to the College World Series, but has a legitimate shot to win it.
They're the most Wake or Florida is the most complete team, depending on how you want to phrase it.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida's really, really good. LSU on the day that Skeens pitches is the best team in the country. So it's how many times can he pitch?
And
But,
the answer is probably 2.
But goodness gracious. Okay.
Yeah, but maybe we need to, Gary Parrish calls out AP voters during basketball season. Maybe that's the segment on Monday is, hey, dumbest thing fanboy or national media said over the weekend. Here are the nominees, if you
We
will.
only have an hour and a half, though. I mean, that's not.
It has to be a segment, doesn't it? Yeah, we'd have to make that a segment.
I don't know. Did you read I didn't read the whole thing because I don't have a membership or access or whatnot, but I read enough of Chip Towers' story about Georgia, the Georgia football team, and all of the traffic related incidents that they have had. They did a really deep dive. It appears to be really well done, and they absolutely have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people have died. Okay,
multiple,
and yeah, and the response from and look, I have to remind myself frequently. I spend less time on Twitter today than I've ever spent on Twitter in my life, and I have to remind myself that Twitter is not real life. If Twitter were real life, there's just a lot there. Twitter's not real life. The response to that story from Georgia fans on Twitter is frightening. Because it's so, how dare you write about the program? It's like, well, how can you not look at this and on one hand go, hey, we're dominating college football, and on the other hand, at least this portion of it is out of control, and people have already been hurt, and more people could get hurt.
However you want to phrase it, friendly media, propaganda, I don't know, take your pick. It's already overtaken the sports world in a lot of ways. I mean, it's why I appreciate a lot of our subscribers hanging in, a lot of our listeners every day as we just talk about whatever we feel and tell the truth. But there's become a larger situation of wanting only positives, and then that also goes into hyperdrive when a team is winning, because don't you dare do anything that's going to pull us off the mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When there's a certain amount no matter what, and no matter what the records are, but when you get into these hyper focused situations where the team is a lead or moving up or doing whatever, the adrenaline that comes from the fan base, the Twitter version of fan base, again, not the whole fan base, again, as you said, need to make that very, very, very clear. But from the internet mob portion of the fan base, it is just, by God, sunshine and rainbows, and don't you dare do anything to pull us off our pedestal. I mean, we see this we saw this with Ole Miss during freeze in some way. I mean, there's a group that changed based off whether it was 14, 15, or then 16 when everything started to slide, for sure. And now there's a lot more scar tissue there because of NCAA doing dumb shit and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But nonetheless, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that doesn't shock me in the slightest. Honestly, it would surprise me if it were the other way.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants a media conversation today, so I'll cut it short.
It's probably my fault. I was laughing at Skarbinski, and I hate Rucker, and that's where we got. So
yeah, I just
sorry.
I don't know. I realize more and more.
Oh, what? Well,
I guess I realize more and more that I'm old school, and like, so I see something like on Twitter, and I'm like, what are you doing? I mean,
you're going to tell me we'll talk about it in an hour, which is fine. But what got deleted that you responded to on Twitter yesterday?
Oh God, I'm another
a
fanboy thing in our network, and it just caught me the wrong way. It was something. It was baseball,
but it got deleted, so obviously there was something.
Oh, there was. He sent me a private message, and I was like, well, then stop. Just stop doing it. You won't get called out on it if you'll just stop doing it.
Okay.
But, that is a beat where maybe to survive, you have to be a homer. I don't know. I've now survived multiple beats not being a homer, so I don't know that I buy that, but whatever.
It's kind of ironic that A&M's thing is to wear rings, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I don't know. Congrats to Gray Kessinger. Got his first hit over the weekend. Got
For
it off Shane Bieber too. I mean, if you're gonna get a scalp, let's get a scalp. I mean, the 2020 Cy Young Award winner. He hit a little dribbler that Arias at Cleveland couldn't hang on to. And credit to Gray after the game, he goes, "They've always told me that it's going to even out. That sometimes the light one gets through and the hard hit ball gets called. I'm not apologizing for it. Nope, it's a
40
hit."
years from now, that was a scorching line drive into left field.
Yeah, when he's talking to the grandkids, let me tell you what I did against that Cy Young winner, bud. I mean,
Crushed it.
yeah,
Hit
I
it so
measured
hard
that
off the wall that
curveball.
I had to stop it first.
Yeah,
No, good for him. I can't even. I mean, the one thing that so many of us all have in common is that we all were in our backyards or front yards or driveways or whatever and imagined getting a hit in a Major League Baseball game. Not everybody
to
gets to,
actually get
yeah, not everybody gets to actually get a hit in a Major League Baseball game, and he's
it's.
got one.
I mean, it's. I was talking to Mike about Gray last week, and yeah, Bieber was dealing too. He was that was the stat that got me the most. He threw 7 innings. He allowed 3 hits, no runs, struck out 9. 4 times somebody reached, and Gray was 2 of the 4. He also walked in another at bat during the game. But I mean, Mike pointed it out. It's 3 generations of Kessingers that now have at least a hit in Major League Baseball. That's a very significant thing in a number of ways. Obviously, Don with the 6 All-Star games, the 2 Gold Gloves. I mean, he's a Cubs legend, in every way, not a lot of ways, in every way. Um, but then, Keith gets up, basically plays shortstop for Barry Larkin during the '93 season for 11 games there in Cincinnati. I looked it up yesterday when I was writing that little thing on Gray quickly. Keith was 7 for 27 offensively. Not the worst deal there in Major League Baseball. 7 for 27 in your cup of coffee. Today that'd keep you around a little more.
Oh, sure.
In some way. And then, you know, Kevin, Gray's dad, I pulled it up. He's littered through Ole Miss's baseball record books for career stuff. He led the SEC in triples one season. It's almost one of those deals where it sort of gets lost because of the rest of the family. But Kevin was a hell of a college baseball player. You don't stumble into being all first team, all SEC in college baseball without being pretty damn good at it. So I mean, just
I will
it,
be
it was what went through my mind yesterday as I was writing that.
I'll be interested at the end of next month when Houston decides whether they're, going to push or whatever, and I suspect they'll push, and they make a deal. I will be curious to see whether Gray is trade bait or if they view him as a long-term, utility infield kind of guy.
Because Houston has one of the most talented infields in baseball.
Yeah.
They're very solid and structured there all the way around.
He's a bit
It is
landlocked
what
in
it is.
terms of trying to find in terms of, an everyday job. He needs an injury to happen. And I don't think anybody wants to cheer for somebody getting hurt, but he's he's played well. So that'll be interesting. If you're Houston, you're trying to win it again. Your window is now. So you go for it.
Yeah, I've wondered the whole time when they would consider trading him or if they would. I mean, I guess they like him because, I mean, otherwise you would have dealt him at some point. So, I mean, they draft him in the second round. They've held on.
Yeah,
He's at least up.
I was watching their broadcast the night they were in Toronto when he played his first game as a starter, and they were talking about. I guess they had talked to Dusty Baker about it. There was an interview, or I can't remember exactly. I was outside and I was grilling, but it was on, and they were talking about he made some real adjustments to his swing in the off season. Had to fix some things and kind of felt like he did it. And so he was back to hitting with power at AAA, and they like him a lot. They're like I said, they're kind of landlocked on the infield. So it's just a matter of, would he be enough to get a reliever to add to your pen to give you a little bit more depth? Would he be part of a package to get you a starting pitcher if you needed one? I don't know. We'll see.
Because, yeah, he can, as mentioned in the thread, he's played every infield position around at a high professional level. I mean, he's played the most games clearly at shortstop and second base. He sort of platooned with another prospect in the minor leagues at shortstop and second. They would alternate out. He's played third base his 2 games in Major League Baseball, and then in AAA they put him at first base for 15, 20 days there before he got called up, checking that out too. So he can play first, second, short, or third, which does, I mean, just straight from a trade standpoint, that makes you pretty damn valuable to any major league team to be able to plug you in if there's an issue, no matter where it is, and you, in theory, give them some pop while you're doing it.
Sure, absolutely. But he's done well. I mean, he's certainly looked like a major leaguer. I've turned on a few of their games that when he's been out there, and he looks.
He's ultra talented.
He is, and like Baker said, sometimes this stuff gets overplayed, but I'm not sure with him it's overplayed. He's got a pedigree to him. I mean, he's grown up around it. Probably the wow of, oh my God, I'm in the major leagues. He probably handles that a little bit better than maybe your typical rookie, if you will, because grew up around it.
Yeah. Almost. I mean, expected is way too strong, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. No,
it's at least you can believe it more than the average person can believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you see it.
Yeah.
There is something to it not being I mean, it's obviously a hell of an accomplishment beyond words, but there's not the same aura for somebody who doesn't have a single soul who has ever done it.
Someone mentions the Cubs. Yeah, he could be the Cubs' third baseman today. No doubt. I don't know whether it's going to be a matter for him of whether he can hit with enough power to play in an everyday lineup. But sure, I mean, the Cubs would be – I expect the Cubs to be sellers in a month and a half, and they've got pitching that they can sell, a lot of it. I don't know Houston's roster well enough to go, here's where their needs are, so I can't even possibly dive in on that. But the Cubs have some high-level pitching that would, I would think, get a pretty substantial package if they decide to sell it.
Mm-hmm. Staying in baseball for a second, Andrew McCutchen went over 2,000 career hits yesterday. He's the 291st person in MLB history to do that. Only 5 active players were 2,000 or more. I would have guessed more than that. If you just set the over/under at 5.5, I would have said over. That's Miguel Cabrera at 3,110. Obviously, the only current player over 3,000 hits. Joey Votto, 2,093. Nelson Cruz, 2,043. Elvis Andrews, 2,027. You could have given me 500 guesses. And then McCutchen now at 2,000 or 2,001. I don't know where he finished yesterday, but either way, today's game of baseball, we're definitely seeing fewer 3,000 career hits, guys, right?
Absolutely. There was a story in The Athletic. I put it in 10 Thoughts yesterday, I think. It's about baseball strikeouts are still up, even though they're doing everything they can to speed up the game, and they've done a good job of that. They're doing everything they can to put more action in the game, and they've done a good job at that. There are still the analytics, and everyone is driven by analytics. The analytics tell you that you should try to hit a home run, and so you still have lots of uppercut swings, people trying to get launch angle and spin and stuff, and the pitching is ridiculous. The guys that come in 99, 100, 101 miles an hour is just remarkable. And so strikeouts are up, which means hits are down. And it's a lot. I mean, back when I was a kid, we've talked about this. I mean, the Big Red Machine was full of guys that were contact hitters. Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, all those guys. I mean, a 40 home run season was just a monster season. I mean, it was just almost unimaginable because you hit for contact. You had a 2-strike swing. I don't know how many of those guys now have a 2-strike swing. Kyle Schwarber doesn't really seem to have a 2-strike swing, but
no,
he'll hit a ball 500 feet. I mean, you see guys with 210 averages and 20 home runs. I mean, they're getting paid, so that tells you that analytically the organizations are cool with that. So that's what they want.
10 years, have we had any reversal to that, in your opinion?
I don't know.
You think analytically it's just going to stay there?
Well, and these guys just throw so freaking hard.
Yeah.
I mean, and the stuff that they have. Sometimes you watch Rob Friedman's account, Pitching Ninja and stuff, and you just see the stuff that these guys throw. It's not hittable. I mean, we talked about Gray. Gray's one of the best college players you've ever seen come through Ole Miss, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Probably the best, maybe the best player to ever play at Oxford High School.
I mean, yeah, argument. Sure. Major League Baseball player.
Takes him a while to get to the bigs. He's still waiting to get an everyday job in Major League Baseball. My point is, it's really, really freaking hard to get one of those jobs. And you see some of these guys that are exceptional hitters look foolish all day long against a guy like Bieber. They look like they don't know what the hell they're doing. And that's how good the pitching is. Yeah, I think the pitching's electric. You just see guys throwing, and major league pitchers now, a generation ago was like, hey, we need innings out of you. We need 7 innings. And so they weren't just letting it all hang out. Now these guys go up there, and a lot of times it's give me 5 and go for it. Mm-hmm. And so then it's this cavalcade of relievers, and they're all throwing 100 miles an hour with electric sliders. It's just really hard to hit in the bigs.
Ryan in the stream says, is Will Plattner Ole Miss's next catcher where they hit the portal for one? Plattner is transferring. He got in the portal a couple weeks ago. I think he was one of the first ones after the season to do that. Currently coming in, Ole Miss has the 2 freshmen, Campbell Smithwick here from Oxford, and then Lyons out of Memphis, both good offensive players, good players overall. And then they picked up Eli Birch, originally from Jackson, out of JUCO. If they can find an offensive catcher in the portal, I think they would do that. And then they feel really good about Smithwick. I mean, my opinion is they need another one. They need to go in the portal and get one, but I think that they're being pretty selective there, and it's got to be somebody who can provide offense as well. They're not going to go defense-minded catcher in the portal just to take one. So we'll see where that lines up.
It's still super early, and this isn't Ole Miss specific. This is just in general. Are you surprised that the portal is moving as slowly as it is right now?
Teams were still playing. You're waiting on guys to kind of make their decision. And frankly, I think some of it is waiting to see who all jumps in, because baseball, unlike football, does have more salary cap. They can't just go get everybody. So you don't want to spend on this dude if this dude's coming in a week. I think they're wanting to see the whole field before you figure out where you're allocating your money. And then I also think that, look, Ole Miss has been up there this week. The Cape is very important. I think you've got a lot of transfer portal stuff going on in the Cape. So let them play some games, get a few of that done. You get to get some eyes on guys with wood bats in person against elite competition. You're not just counting on research and film and that kind. So I think between teams still playing and the Cape going on, that's what slowed it down a little bit. Because we still got. The draft starts in a month, so next 2.5 weeks, something like that. I think is when it'll really, really pop. You saw the kid out of Wichita, one of the best 2-way players in the country, get in yesterday, and that's a team who's been bad and out for weeks.
He's one of the ones that led to the comment.
Yeah. You should go.
Go get him, Schloss. Really? Come on. I thought what would – if I were to tweet, go get him, Beard, can you imagine? You would be like, oh, my God, someone hijacked Neal's computer. I should go get help.
That's basically going, hey, Mike, I got his contact info. If you want it, shoot me a text. I'll hook you up.
What are we doing?
Okay. I didn't realize that's what that was about.
That's what it was about. And it wasn't.
That Slosh will make a call.
I wasn't angry. I don't care. It was just, what are you doing?
No, I didn't realize that.
Whatever.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, no, that's why. By the way, Wichita, I don't know how they're going to have a team next year. You should go to, I know you don't care, but you should go to the transfer portal and look on D1 Baseball. Wichita's entire team is in the portal. It's 27 dudes.
Yeah.
It's the whole damn team. Because anybody who thought the best player on the team wasn't getting in the portal when the rest of the team was in the portal, come on. That cat's been tampering for a week or two and taking bids, and now he's ready to play. That's what's been going on with that cat.
There will be lots of opportunity for playing time at Wichita in the spring.
Oh. Some kid who might have been a little fringy, make a call.
Make a call. That starting shortstop job is yours, champ.
Yeah. So, no, I expect Ole Miss right now with 2 pickups. I think they'll get at least a couple more this week. We'll see what comes out of any of the Cape conversations and go from there. But anyway, A little more college baseball after the break. First, tell you that spring is in full swing and summer's around the corner. Heavenly Sunshine Property Services would like to take the opportunity to remind you about the importance of taking care of your outdoor living spaces. Regular maintenance is key to preserving the beauty and integrity of your home or business. And one of the most effective ways to maintain your home is through power washing. Some of the key benefits include increased curb appeal, damage prevention, creating a healthier environment, and it also saves you time and money. They've been serving the Mid-South and Oxford for 4 decades. Their full-service commercial and residential property maintenance includes power washing, soft wash, roof application, facade cleaning, and window cleaning. Don't wait until it's too late. Contact them today and enjoy a brighter, cleaner outdoor living space. That's heavenlysunshine.com or call 662-342-1203 to book your free estimate. Use code MPW10 for a 10% discount.
Are you vacationing on Florida's Emerald Coast this summer? Whether you're staying from 30A to Pensacola Beach or anywhere in between, please check out Captain Lee Comerford with Salty Lab Charters. Licensed and insured, he offers custom excursions such as dolphin watching along Destin beaches, Crab Island sandbar experiences, and much more. He's an Ole Miss grad, an Air Force veteran, has 30 years of boating experience along Florida's Emerald Coast. All trips are private to your group, so check him out on Instagram or book today at saltylabcharters.com. Use the code RebelGrove20 to save 20%. You can apply this code to any charter booked in 2023. And as of now, this code goes through the end of June. So check them out at saltylabcharters.com. Lake Hill Motors in Corinth, Mississippi. It's a family-owned dealership in operation for more than 60 years, a service department with more than 100 years of combined experience. If you're looking for motorcycles, four-wheelers, side-by-sides, scooters, generators, wave runners, lawn mowers, compact tractors, and more, Lake Hill has it from Honda, Yamaha, Bobcat, Hyson, KO, and other name brands. Get in touch with my friend Michael McCullough in Corinth at 662-871-6918 or visit him in person at 2003 Highway 72 East Annex in Corinth. Mention that you heard about Lake Hill on the podcast. Your first oil change on your new purchase is free. Walk-On's Sports Bistro puts everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine, po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers, fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. Order online at walkons.com or on the convenient Walk-Ons app, especially if you're in Oxford or the Ridgeland location. Check them out. The College Corner is your one-stop Rebel shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. You can also go to collegecornerstore.com, find them on Facebook or Instagram. Be a great Father's Day idea. Father's Day coming up here really soon. Great selection of gifts for the dad in your life, the largest selection of Rebel gear in Central Mississippi. And we're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating, different names, but same great people, products, and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern 662-429-4429.
Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer medicine for your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. They can also transfer your medications really, really easily. You make one phone call, they take care of the rest. So whether that be Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs or G&M in Oxford, that's 662-236-2222. I just noticed this yesterday as I was looking it up. I guess it's not that much of a shock because there's more parity in college baseball now. But of the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 college baseball coaches, as far as wins in the College World Series, the number of wins for coaches, only one of the top 13 is active.
Oh,
So and that person's in 13th. That's Tim Corbin.
yeah.
Nobody else active.
Huh.
But now you've got dumb numbers like Rod Dedeaux at Southern California. He won 60 games in the College World Series. That's 16 more than Cliff Gustafson, who's second.
How many did Bertman win?
29. He was just very efficient.
I'd say
5 College World Series titles and 29 total wins. They never lost a final. Also, you got to realize back then it was all one-game finals,
Yeah.
other than maybe his last one. So that took 5 wins away, I guess, at minimum, or whatever the number is.
So
But
how many
yeah,
wins does Corbin have in Omaha?
20.
20 wins. That's impressive.
Yeah, 2 titles and a runner-up.
I didn't watch a ton of it this weekend. I watched some. Anything shock you, or was it about like you expected?
I felt. I mean, I know I keep piling on. I felt bad for Southern Miss yesterday. They get the first one. You get Tanner Hall on the mound. You don't pull it off, and that felt like a bit of a death sentence. We'll see what kind of adversity they can overcome today. But if I'm setting a line in Vegas, I give Tennessee the upper hand here, because not only has Southern Miss gotten through the Tanner Hall game without winning it, but they also haven't made Tennessee use pitchers at all. Tennessee's only had to use like 3 or 4 pitchers in the 2 games. So they've got a more talented, deeper staff and a staff that's very well rested here. So Southern better hit today. We'll see. I mean, I'm pulling for the Eagles, but we'll see where that goes on. No, I mean, look, here's what's interesting is you and I were talking about who's going to travel and what's Omaha thinking from an economic standpoint, and there's not much there. There's LSU. TCU does a decent job there. That's not the worst thing in the world for them, but not great. Um, Florida's not going to travel. Virginia doesn't travel like crazy there. Tennessee would travel. We probably need them to win, although Southern will too. Either way, probably very similar. And then you get Texas, but it's kind of played out if they beat Stanford tonight. They're there so much. It might take you being in the you might take you being in the Final Four for the Longhorns to really show up and then wait on a national title. Mark pointing out that Tennessee's a 2-1 favorite in Vegas today, opening at -200. That sounds about right. Um, but take that out. I tell you what I like. I'm looking at this bracket now, and whether Texas or Stanford wins, got a lot of good baseball teams. Like when I'm looking at this bracket and even how it's split up between sides, because for anybody that's unaware, you have 2 4-team brackets. You come out of your 14 bracket, you play a 2 out of 3 thing for the national title. Clearly, Ole Miss fans are pretty well versed in that from last year, but just heads up on that if you didn't know. It's damn good baseball teams. I mean, I'm looking at this, and one side of the bracket is Wake against either Texas or Stanford, whichever one wins tonight. You've got Texas, clearly a national brand, a team that was in the host conversation for a lot of the year before struggling there late. Went 0-2 in the Big 12 tournament, I think, which is what knocked them out of that. Stanford won the Pac by 5 games. Now the Pac wasn't very good, but still, that's a team that's there all the time. They were in Omaha last year. It's going to give a West Coast feel to it, which is fine. I don't mind that. And then LSU plays Southern Miss or Tennessee in the first round. So good luck, Southern Miss or Tennessee in the first game against LSU. There. So you're 4 on that side: Wake, Texas, or Stanford. LSU versus Southern or Tennessee. Those are one side of the bracket. One of those teams will play for a national title. And then on the other side, it is completely set. It is TCU against Oral Roberts, and it is Florida against Virginia. Really good first game there with the Cavaliers and the Gators. Um, there's balance on that. I don't. Both sides have some really intriguing teams. I don't love that Florida plays Virginia in the first game because those are definitely the 2 best teams on that side. But
TCU
I like that
really.
Florida and LSU are on separate sides. I like that Wake and Florida are on different sides. I like that bracket, and I don't mind Oral Roberts kind of being the Cinderella of the ball in this thing with 7 really named programs, whoever they end up being.
So TCU can really hit it.
Yep.
Florida's just a very complete team, and they're pitching really well right now. I haven't seen Virginia enough to have any thoughts really. On the other side, you just have to assume right now the way that he's pitching. I mean, I say that he got hit around in the SEC tournament, but I'm not sure he was as dialed in as he was the other night. Man, when Skeens goes, it's just hard to put anything together against him. So they've got a real shot to get into the winners bracket part of it.
I would love a Wake LSU winners bracket game
Be interesting.
because Wake has the better number 2 starter. It's not close.
Yeah. I won't be surprised if we have an LSU Florida final.
Oh, yeah.
LSU starting to play with that swag a little bit. And my God, when that guy's on the mound, his performance against Kentucky the other night, I mean, if I'm the Pittsburgh Pirates for the very first time, somewhere in that room,
You can't.
somewhere in that room, you're like, I know we can't, but can we just talk about it for a minute? He was electric, and he's got stamina. 7th, 8th inning, he's throwing 98, 99, and he's painting it. I mean, someone said you often wonder what would it look like for a major league pitcher to face a college lineup. Well, you saw it.
We're seeing it.
You saw it. That's what it would look like. I mean,
who has the third pick is going to get Skeens?
It's the Nationals are second. Who is third?
I
don't know. But boy, he was just dominant, and they play with such confidence when he's on the mound. But the key for them, and we always talk about this, you always have to overcome. You have to overcome your Achilles heel, and the key for them is going to be depth of pitching. They've developed some here late. They're pitching better. LSU is.
Detroit.
The Tigers. Phew. Well, if you're Detroit, you don't mind where you're sitting right now because you don't get questioned, and there's 3 legitimate studs at the top of the draft.
In a different year, any of those 3 could go number 1 overall. Would go number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Cruz, Langford, and Skeens.
Cruz's game just has no flaws in it, and you don't have to worry about the elbow stuff, right? You don't have to sweat that. And so I think he's the first pick. And then I think if
I take him, yes.
For sure. I do too. I just do it. Here's the card. Now let's cross our fingers and hope if you're Pittsburgh. But that second spot, like Langford versus Skeens, there's a lot of debate.
Langford, crazy power, all around great player, has a lot of swing and miss. He's going to have a lot of swing and miss at the pro level.
Yeah, he is.
But damn, he can hit.
But he can crush it.
But that's a good point. Detroit took Jackson Jobe last year. You picked up Jobe and Skeens, 2 back-to-back first rounds. You feel pretty good about it.
You have to feel pretty good about it. By the way, that kid that Ole Miss faced in the College World Series from Oklahoma, can't think of his name. He's
Cade Horton.
Cade Horton. He's lighting it up in the minor leagues right now.
I'm shocked by that, really. Blown away.
I mean, just putting up video game numbers.
There's a game 3 in that series if TJ McCants doesn't hit one back at him.
You think?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
1 out in the 8th, nobody on.
He hit him with the ball, right?
Well, he hit him, but he hit it back at him, and they went and pulled him immediately. You knew his pitch count was up.
Yeah.
And they had an All-American closer. They knew that as soon as anybody reached, they were going to go get him, but you had to reach. I mean, nobody had reached since Gonzalez's home run in the 6th. And then there you go. Yeah, Horton's spin rates and stuff are off the charts. Omaha does a really good job with showing you real-time spin rates during the thing. And I mean, he was throwing some sliders in there that you went, oh my God, like this is major league stuff. And I would take a bunch of them and screenshot them and put them in the thread because, I mean, I get it. You're playing for a national title. Your fans are all emotional going, why can't you hit him? And it's like, this is why you can't hit him. This is
well, it's to the point.
This is elite level stuff right here.
Yeah, it's to the point earlier about why there aren't more 3,000 hit guys because it's just hard to put the bat on the ball.
Yeah.
And you can't sit there and go, hey, I'm gonna spit on the slider every time he throws it because they now have it. The tunneling thing where the damn ball looks the exact same coming out and then one goes in and one goes out. You don't have 4 seconds to figure it out either. You've got you got to make a pretty quick decision. It's just some of the stuff they throw is filthy, and you're starting to see it at the college level now, which is that's the good news for the college game is that more and more guys are going to college and improving and learning how to do those things, and they're more like I don't know how much seasoning Paul Skeens really needs. I mean, what are we doing? We're going to send him to low A for a year? I mean, come on. I mean,
I start him in double A and then get him up.
Yeah, I mean, I draft him. I give him his money. I see where he is. I might give him the rest of this summer off, or just do some Maybe let him just have a start here and a start there and shut him down. But yeah, next year he's opening the season in Double-A, and as soon as he's ready, he got so many bullets. I want to shoot him in the bigs.
The thing, real quick, closing that subject, the closer at Oklahoma was good, but he had ridiculously predictable tendencies. He was overwhelming with the same pitch to a right-hander, and then with a left-hander with a different pitch. And Ole Miss had his scouting report down pat. They essentially sat on whatever pitch that was, depending on the batter up, and Oklahoma had no way to deviate from that, and that's what blew the inning up. It's frankly a wonder that he made it through the season as successful as he was, tipping what he was going to throw to that degree. I don't know how that happened, but nonetheless, that's what happened. So anyway, Gonzalez still predicted top 15 picks ish, pretty much from everywhere I've seen. So we'll see with that. Again, July 11th, we got a minute, but that's where that's sitting right now. Oral Roberts was down to its last couple outs in game 2. Oregon had won game 1 after coming back from an 8-0 deficit. Teams that were down by at least 8 runs in Super Regionals were 0-96 prior to Friday when Oregon came back. And then Oral Roberts had the ninth inning comeback 2 days ago, and then on Sunday kind of routed them as the Ducks ran smooth out of pitching, which it's an interesting sign when the 4 seed mid-major has enough pitching and you as the Pac-12 team doesn't at all. Oral Roberts is good. They're fine. They're kind of fun. I don't mind it.
You don't get to Omaha without being good. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, even when look, they went through Vanderbilt. I mean, it's not like
you don't get there without being good. It's not possible. It's too difficult.
Anthony Jackson asking better pitcher Dolander or Wake dude. I mean, prospect. I give Tennessee the credit, but I mean, Rhett Lauder's been phenomenal. Tennessee, Wake Forest has 3 starters, all with over 100 strikeouts this season. I mean, their pitching staff has been awesome. Some homegrown stuff, some transfer stuff. They're really, really damn good. There's no doubt about that. They're really good. I don't hate that. I don't hate an LSU Florida final, but I don't know. I mean, I want to see how Wake plays outside their ballpark. They're so good in that park. It's an interesting park, kind of small. I want to see how the offense translates getting out of Winston-Salem. I think the pitching is going to play even better, frankly, than it does at home for Wake. It's hard to see Southern Tennessee, Texas, or Stanford coming out of that side. It feels pretty preordained that it's LSU or Wake, much like it did for Ole Miss or Arkansas last year.
Yeah, for sure.
Where y'all just go ahead and play each other and tell me what happens. That's where that sits.
And frankly, whoever wins that game, whoever wins that side, that's who I'll pick.
And then TCU, Florida, or Virginia. You can make a compelling argument for any of them, but I give Virginia and Florida. The winner, that feels a little like 14 Ole Miss, Virginia, where if you win the first game, you're winning the region.
Yeah.
I'll just give it to whichever one of those teams wins that game. Florida has a big advantage with Sproat versus Virginia as number 1. So I would lean toward the Gators. I'd put a fairly decent money line, 160, 180 probably on Florida for that opening game, something like that. Yeah, good point there to kind of close the segment. I mean, Hurston Waldrop pitching for Florida, he's their number 2 guy. He was great over the weekend. Had he stayed with Southern Miss, I mean, they would be a legitimate title threat with Hall and Waldrop back to back. That removed their ability. They can still get there, obviously, but it's just hard to see them making a lot of noise long enough without a number 2 starter. But I mean, Ole Miss beat him last year, but Waldrop's damn good. That would have given them a real shot had he made the best move for him. He got a lot of money, and he's playing on a damn good baseball team. So,
yeah, really good.
And Tanner Hall was the face of that program. He is the face of that program.
Yeah. And look, anyway. Even if Southern Miss doesn't win today, obviously if they do, it's a crowning achievement for Scott Berry. If they don't, it doesn't cheapen at all the job that he's done there over a long period of time. I'm sure it will be very disappointing for them if they lose today. But he took that program, elevated it big time, made it very consistent, and leaves it in an incredible spot for his successor.
Southern Miss baseball has done a phenomenal job. First with Corky Palmer and now Scott Berry, and just what they've been able to do. They benefit a little bit from Ole Miss and State recruiting nationally to the level they do, but their ability to identify and then develop homegrown talent is one of the best jobs in the country. I mean, they're phenomenal at it. They are great at taking guys, taking gambles, taking chances, knowing when to really pluck one with a lot of scholarship, do a lot of stuff there. I hope that the NIL era is not going to crater them anymore. I enjoy Southern Miss being good at baseball.
Here's what's going to be interesting to me with Southern Miss. I think and you would know this better than me, so feel free to tell me that I'm way
Sure.
off. But I kind of wonder if they've also benefited from here in the last few years, programs like Ole Miss and Mississippi State have to identify and take kids as like 8th and 9th graders.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And Southern Miss didn't have that pressure. You didn't have to, hey, he's 13, I got him. They could wait a minute. And so some of the kids who maybe developed as sophomores, juniors, they were able to get those guys because Ole Miss and State didn't have room really. They got those guys. Those guys came to Southern Miss, and then you get all the other intangibles from having homegrown guys, right? I mean, they're in the program. That's the program that gave them a chance. They play with a chip, an edge on their, all that stuff. I wonder if in this new era that doesn't get minimized a little bit. We'll see.
It makes you wonder though how much of that changes also with the inability to contact guys young anymore. You can't even recruit them until they're whatever their junior year now or whatever it is. You don't even really get a summer contacted them anymore. I wonder if that's a negative for Southern because everybody gets more constricted into the same pot of when you're grabbing guys and there's not what you're talking about. Because yeah, I think it has helped them for dang sure. Especially again with that guy where you go, yeah, it's pretty good, but I'd like to see this or like to see that, or I want to see how he matures, and you jump on it where Ole Miss or State doesn't have scholarship money to match you in that. But we don't know yet what that will look like as that thing moves forward. Anyway, podcast brought to you in part by Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. They have 7 different flavors available for you. Everything from the signature and the New Orleans style barbecue, a couple of my favorites, to the full meals in a bag. They got the French Quarter Alfredo. They've got the garlic herb butter, and they're available at Rouse's too. If you got a Rouse's near you, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, you can pick up some prime shrimp. But if you need it delivered right there to your door, it is delivered frozen. Pop it in the freezer. Like fewer than 10 minutes, freezer to plate. You got great shrimp for salads, lunch, meals, whatever you need here as the summer days are busy. So use code RG. Use code RG. 5 pouches or more, 25% off there with primeshrimp.com.
A-Stock is a Nashville-based online retail company with the mission to provide their customers the power to name their price. All items start at just $1. That's right. Every item starts at just $1, no matter what the retail value may be. Shop now at astock.bid. That's ASTOCK.BID. Or download their app. Name your price on thousands of items from big-name retailers. A-Stock has multiple locations around Nashville as well as Memphis, some in Indiana, and more coming soon that offer local pickups, so don't miss out. Game Changer patches are the only 2-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. The warm-up patch used before or while you drink, the overtime patch used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for your next play. Go to GameChangerPatch.com, promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. Father's Day is almost here. Dead Soxy has the perfect gift for any budget. Whether as a gift or buying for yourself, Dead Soxy is excited to help you celebrate with style. Sign up for a Dead Soxy NIL membership. Receive new styles every month, 2 months, 3 months, or even every 6 months. These socks not only comfort your feet, but they give back. Over 50% of the proceeds are pumped back into Ole Miss athletics. If a sock subscription isn't your speed, ask for a Saturday 7-pack. Get 7 unique designs to coordinate each of this season's 7 home football games. Again, these packs give back to Ole Miss athletics as well. So lastly, enjoy 25% off all non-licensed products with promo code RebelGrove. Visiting deadsoxy.com and stocking up on your favorite socks while supporting your Rebels is a double win. So happy Father's Day from Dead Soxy. And we're brought to you by Pinnacle, based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states. They provide detailed specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much, much more. At Pinnacle, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. And we're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John has been traveling the globe for 37 years before he even got into the travel business. He knows the extra attention that's needed to make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. Just get in touch with him, give him some parameters, give him a budget. That's really important. And he'll give you options that you're not going to find on your own. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net.
Will LSU break the Jello shot record in Omaha this month?
Man, Ole Miss set that thing pretty high last year.
Can you try to break a record without direct competition, or do you need the perfect storm of the rival in town trying to do it too? Would it take it for LSU to get there? Can they do it just off this is the number we have to beat?
Yeah.
Or do they need Ole Miss or Tennessee or State or somebody there to challenge them in the process where you get the adrenaline? You get no adrenaline off chasing a number on a board.
Oh, I don't know. I think you get some adrenaline on if you're as a Louisiana native. Yeah, if they're there till the very end.
That's the catch. You've got to win. You can't go 0-2 because you're not there long enough.
If they're there till the very end, they'll start chasing that number with gusto. And
yeah,
listen, they can drink.
Yeah.
They're pretty talented at drinking, and yeah, that number.
It's in danger if LSU's in the Final Four.
I think they got to get to the Final Two.
Okay.
If they get to the Final Two, that number's in jeopardy.
Well, that number's probably done if they win it because that night we'll put thousands of dollars on shots or whatever is necessary at that point for the.
But that place got the perfect storm last year with both Ole Miss and Arkansas there for as long as they were. Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm just curious. The games today: Southern Miss Tennessee's at 5:00. And then Texas and Stanford is at 7:00. So those are your two start times tonight. Those will overlap. ESPN was kind of pissing me off last night, and I know what they were doing, but they didn't give a start time until late last night for Southern and Tennessee today. Southern and Tennessee weren't sure if they're going to play at 11 a.m. until like 8:30, 9 o'clock last night.
Yeah, that's bogus.
Because if they were only one game, had Texas won, they were going to put it at 7 tonight. So they were making sure a game was at 7 and then moving it back for the other one. But whatever. Anyway.
Pays the bills.
Yeah, I'm not emotionally invested in the start time of Southern Miss and Tennessee, but I'm interested.
Yeah, the whole
do what?
Well, there's the conversation on the thing about a night game in Death Valley and how drunk it is, and it's really drunk. I don't know. I won't hot take this because I need to think a little bit more about it. But there are a couple of venues that at night feel even drunker than LSU.
Really?
Like South Carolina feels pretty drunk.
No shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies to kids.
Pretty drunk at night.
Huh. I wouldn't have guessed you were going there.
Gainesville can be pretty drunk at night on a night game. Get a little weird. I've seen.
I never feel it at Auburn, Alabama, or Georgia.
Pretty drunk. Really. I've seen Balt Hemingway where it felt pretty drunk and it was like crazy.
It just has 25,000 fewer people.
Right.
That's the deal there.
What LSU does is,
it's built into the environment.
Yeah, and they just sort of embrace it.
Right.
They almost, steer into it. Oh,
yeah, pound for pound, Ole Miss is there. That's not the problem.
Yeah, Tennessee's the other one I was kind of thinking of. That's yeah. Get a little rowdy.
Had they won that game against Lane that night.
Man. It was pretty crazy when they lost it. But yeah, had they won it, that place was look out.
7:30 start time tonight for Game 5 of the NBA Finals when we're doing some TV viewing. The Miami Heat in Denver down 3-1. Does it end tonight?
Yeah, it's over.
Okay.
I mean,
Coronation tonight in Denver?
I'll say this. If the Heat win tonight, tip all your hats because there's just everything going against them. Number one, they're the inferior team.
Which is a problem.
Which is a problem number one. I mean, Duncan Robinson had a great quote about Murray and Jokic. It's not like they're not trying to stop him. It's not like Eric Spoelstra, this is the first series where he went, you know what? We're not going to prepare. We're not going to have a plan. Just see what happens. No, but they're trying. But their two-man game is so good. And then all the other pieces for them are playing well. And they had a stretch in Game 4. Jokic got in foul trouble, and he had to sit. And they played key minutes, third quarter, fourth quarter, without Jokic on the floor. And the Heat were able to trim 1 point off the lead. And Jokic came back in, and that was that. And that kind of felt to me like that was the moment. That was, here's your chance. And when you couldn't do it, it was kind of like, nope, we've grown up as a team. Obviously, we're better when he's the best, when he's on the floor. But we've now grown as a team, we being Denver, has grown as a team to a place where we can absorb that. And they're just really, really good. They're getting contributions from everyone. Their starting lineup is really strong. And then they're getting some guys off the bench. But, I mean, everyone's going to talk about Jokic tonight and Jamal Murray. And Jamal Murray's been awesome in this series. Aaron Gordon's been terrific. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's been really good. I mean, they're playing at a super high level. They got big minutes from the rookie Brown off the bench the other night, and I think it was Game 3 where he kind of went off. That's what championship teams do, and they're doing that right now. They just
I have no real reason other than we talked about him a lot when he was trying to get eligible. I like Michael Porter Jr. too.
Yeah, no, he's been really good. I mean,
Yeah.
he takes some ill-advised shots here and there, but he also makes some of those shots. And, I thought they would hunt him defensively a little bit, Miami, and they really haven't been able to. I mean, Butler's had a good series. Bam Adebayo's had a good series. They just don't have enough. And this is a Nuggets team that we talked about it last week some. It will be interesting to see if you're a Grizzlies fan, if you're a Thunder fan, if you are a fan of a small Milwaukee Bucks fan, if you're a fan of one of those kinds of teams, this is an encouraging night tonight probably, because it shows you that you can do it without doing the big splashy free agency thing. You can build from within. You can let guys grow up together, and if you evaluate correctly and you have some luck on your side, and this is the first year that everybody's been healthy, you can do it, and they've done it. And they're a win away, and Denver will be nutty tonight. And their fans deserve it. They have a really loyal fan base, and this team hasn't won before, and they'll be itching to take the top off of that building tonight. I mean, if you're Miami, this is going to be difficult.
I noticed this, and I don't know. I'm assuming this has to be somewhat uncommon, or it wouldn't have been tweeted this way. But did you see this Bill Simmons tweet from yesterday?
No.
That 2023 NBA playoff summary. So just during the playoffs, and clearly you have to be winning and probably be in the finals to have this. So it's a little bit of a geared stat. But during the 2023 playoffs, total points, Jokic. Total rebounds, Jokic. Total assists, Jokic. Total win share, Jokic. That can't be that common.
No.
That no one else on two teams or somebody went crazy and got beat in the semifinals, because the finals isn't over yet. Does not lead some category. In NBA playoffs for this year, Jokic leads every category.
He's a 7-footer made of like Play-Doh. He just kind of does everything. And he processes the game at such an incredibly high level. It's the one thing that the greats don't get credit enough for. Like LeBron doesn't get enough credit for this. Kobe didn't get enough credit for this. It's not just physical skill. In a league full of freaks, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean athletically freaks. I mean 6'9", 235-pound guys that can jump out of gyms. You're pretty freakish athletically. He sees the game 2 plays ahead. It's been one of the reasons that Miami, who's a brilliant team, has thrown stuff at them, as has been noted in the thread, and it just doesn't work. They swept the Lakers. They're just really he's an amazing player. And the two-way game with he and Murray is really pretty if you watch a lot of NBA. It's what a lot of teams try to do with two-man games. And the Nuggets just do it at this incredibly high level because of Jokic. He's right now. I know he didn't win the MVP, but he's won 2 of the last 3, finished second this year to Joel Embiid. But right now today, he's the best player in the league. And so, as someone pointed in the thread, they just made a deal with Oklahoma City last week. They know their window is wide open. This is the beginning of a 3, 4, 5 year period for them where they're probably the favorite in the West. I mean, if you look at the West next season, odds are the Lakers aren't going to be there. The Clippers it doesn't appear to be in the cards. They can't get healthy with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and they've built their whole team around that, and they've already sold their future. Phoenix just waived Chris Paul, and they don't have any stuff to build with. Portland doesn't have enough. Sacramento maybe. Memphis has this Ja Morant deal that they've got to get through before they can recover and go, okay, we're ready to contend. And maybe they are, but they've got to get past the Morant thing first. I'm trying to think who else. Minnesota doesn't seem like that team. Oklahoma City still has a long way to go. Houston looks.
Dallas is nowhere close.
Dallas isn't close. Houston's lost as a franchise. They're just idiots what they're about to do. I mean, I'm glad because I hate them, but yeah, it's Denver's for the next 2 or 3 years, and they just traded a 29 first-round pick for some assets in this draft and in the next draft, and they're clearly going to try to keep this core together, put some young, inexpensive pieces around them and go for it. And there's no reason to think that they can't win it. I mean, they've got guys, the guys they're building around are like 28, 27 years old. This is their prime.
What does Miami do in the offseason? What is their situation?
Well, their problem.
Can they go get a piece?
Probably. Probably not, because they've got to deal with some of they've done a great job of developing guys, but now, like, if they want to keep Max Strus, and they probably do, they've got to pay him, which means they probably have to find someone to take Duncan Robinson's contract off of their hands. Their problem is that they've got to pare some money off the books.
See Stephen Wells saying the rumor, and then Bill Simmons in the Ringer saying they're hearing it too. Morant will be out at least 40 games next season.
Yeah. I mean, the number I heard was 41 games, half of a season. I mean, it just stands to reason, whether you think this is a legitimate suspension or not. Ja Morant had that thing happen in Denver. It got all over social media. He goes to New York. He meets with Adam Silver. Adam Silver says, hey, I expressed the gravity of the situation to him. And I'm sure, based on just human nature, that Ja Morant said, it won't happen again. I get it. It won't happen again. He gives him an 8-game suspension, tells him, hey, get your stuff straight. Stop. This can't happen. The league is in too good of a place, too many good young players. You're one of them. Everything's going good. I can't have you accidentally have a firearm go off. And you're running with this group, and there's stuff that we hear, and it's got to stop. And like a month and a half later, it happens again. And everybody goes, well, he didn't break a law. No, he didn't break a law. But if you're the NBA and you're Adam Silver, you have to send a message now. You have no choice, whether you even want to or not. you have to say, okay, I'm about to hammer you, because
Mm-hmm.
it can't be, hey, I'm a paper tiger up here in this league full of young guys that are going to make incredible amounts of money. I can't tell you this can't happen again, and then it happens again, and I just hit you with 10 games. Honestly, Chase, he's lucky that he's not getting hit with a full year if he gets hit with a half year.
Yeah.
But it's got to, if you're Silver, you have to look at John Morant and go, and you do know, man, the third strike is you're out.
Yeah, sure. You're out. You're there is not another chance.
This is strike two, bud. And
Yeah.
you need to understand the gravity of it. And if I'm the Grizzlies, frankly, as much as I have invested in John Morant and as much as I want him to play a whole season, I need somebody to send a message to him.
Mm-hmm. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPARC. Service people across rural communities. 2 packages: the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clarkport studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, a wireless mesh extender, and much more. So to get the best internet in Lafayette County, as well as parts of Union and Pontotoc counties for those who previously did not have internet. Again, that's 662-238-3159.
Opa is Oxford's newest Greek restaurant on the square. It's a perfect place for a party, a festive company dinner, a festive party event. So get in touch with Jeannie there at Opa. They can accommodate up to 200 guests. It's 601-421-7147. We're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency, connecting great job opportunities to candidates since 1967. If you're on the job hunt, whether you're seeking an entry-level position or you're a seasoned professional, they have opportunities across the board in engineering, dentistry, accounting, law, manufacturing, human resources, and much, much more. It's always free for the candidate. If your company is looking to hire quality, hard-to-find talent, they can help you as well. Payment is solely contingent on if you decide to hire a candidate that they send. You've got nothing to lose, so give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call at 662-832-5138 or check out their new and improved site, servicespecialistltd.com. Get the beautiful and healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today. Take the first step towards a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com. And we're brought to you by Southern Traditions Farm. It's a 68-acre, 32-stall, upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. 2 sand rings, a grass ring, miles of wooded trails. So much offered at Southern Traditions. Horseback riding offerings from beginner lessons to advanced lessons that allow you to compete in nationally recognized competitions. It's also a great venue for events and get-togethers. So check it all out on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm.
I don't remember if we mentioned it in the opening or not yesterday, but Novak Djokovic wins the French Open. He setting some records in the process. He has now won his 23rd Grand Slam title. That sets the record from a men's and women's standpoint. Ties Serena Williams at 23, one behind Margaret Court, who has the all-time record for men's or women's. But Djokovic probably would have 2 more had the COVID vaccination thing not happened that cost him 2 Grand Slams. He's nowhere near out of his prime. I mean, he is still, or maybe not his prime, but he still has at least 2 years, I would think, of competitive tennis at this point, barring injury. I mean, he's got a chance to put a number up that is fairly shocking. And I don't follow tennis like I used to. I mean, I had a number of years there where I was pretty tennis obsessed, basically before I got into golf. And I mean, I remember we're not 2 decades out from Sampras at 14 Grand Slams being this number that seemed crazy and that being the record. Now Federer at 20, Nadal at 22, and Djokovic at 23. Those 3 guys dominating a sport, and then Djokovic kind of outlasting them, being a guy we've talked about a lot over the years as someone who improved his fitness. He had cramps and things early in his career and kind of had a hard time withstanding. And now he's the most resilient, He has the most stamina. I mean, he is in every way just the best tennis player on the planet. It's not close. Probably
Uh,
phenomenal. His all court game has come so far that it's tremendous to watch just from a greatness standpoint.
and not to get political, but he'd have more. He would have
Yeah,
won
he'd have
those.
25 or 26, 24 or 25 for sure.
Yeah. He's amazing. His fitness is incredible. It's incredible. That's to me, so much of his story is just he's a beast. He's in his mid 30s and he's going against guys 10 years younger than him who are also in the absolute prime of their careers physically, and they can't stay with him. He,
He
and he,
played he played Rude in the Grand Slam final, the French Open final yesterday, and good player. Is kind of a clay court specialist. I think he has 10 titles. 9 of them are on clay. Has finished second at the French before and the U.S. Open. Did that last year, and the entire time you're watching it, you knew that it was just going to take one crack. You're just waiting on the one little thing to happen and something to kind of get sideways. And Rude got kind of frustrated a couple times. He let some environment stuff get to him. He let Djokovic probably getting close to deserving a penalty on a couple delays that didn't happen. And if you just take that one little second and that one little crack, that's it. You're done. And Djokovic gets the momentum and it's over at that point. And that's that, I just sort of thought that was sort of a microcosm of what's happened for Djokovic in these past years is just his ability to outlast and wait and just keep showing up and keep showing up. And he's dominant with his forehand. I mean, he can obviously go on offense, but he is so resilient and consistent that he's just simply waiting on you to screw it up half the time.
playing against him is like pitching, where from the first inning on, you know that you probably can't give up more than one run and win. And
Mm-hmm.
so every pitch is just so tight. It's the equivalent of going, hey, we can win this basketball game today, but we've got to shoot 75% as a team.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure. You don't
Yeah.
get to just kind of let it all hang out against Djokovic because he's too good. And he's so disciplined. And then, next thing you know, he's on a roll. And once he gets on a roll, as you said, it's over. And you can almost sense it. And again, this is against the greats that he does this. And
It's a really good comparison because it's what happened yesterday is that he's in that first set, Rude was up a break, and then he had a couple more chances to put it away, and he just gave a couple games to Djokovic, and you could almost tell it in his mannerisms in his head that he was already thinking that was the chance and I screwed it up, and he couldn't let it go. It was the game in baseball you're talking about, except you had runners on second and third, and you went strikeout, strikeout, and you didn't score, and you get back out in the field and you go, God dang it.
sure.
And you just can't seem to move on. And then that was it. That little crack, and you never were in it again, and it was over, and you lose the tiebreak 7-6, and then you end up losing in 3 straight sets, and Djokovic is the champion, and it's
How
done.
many times, against like in his prime, Greg Maddox, first inning might be a little not super
A
sharp,
little shaky.
Bases loaded, one out, and he gets the double play ground ball, and you just know, okay, that was it. And sure enough, he comes back out, and all of a sudden it's just mowing you down. And you start thinking, man, we had this opportunity. It's pressure playing him. And he's so mentally tough. I mean, to go through what he did, and again, I'm not getting into the whole vaccine thing, but to stick to your principles and not go play and to take the criticism and all the stuff that he got required a level of mental toughness that a lot of people don't have. And he carries that into the court as well. I mean, and the way that guy's built, he might have 4 more years like this.
Considering how he played every point or plays every point as hard as he does, Nadal being at 22 is a fascinating stat because he just beats his body all to hell. Everything is played as hard as possible.
Think about what
And
his numbers would be if he were in an era without Djokovic.
mhm.
Hell, he might have 30.
I mean, Federer too, who was the best player of all time before we said Djokovic was the best player of all time.
What else is interesting to me is that there's so many great young players, but they just can't get to that. They can't get over the hump at all.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good. I mean, I watched that show on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it, but introduces you to a lot of those guys. And I don't know. Speaks volumes to his greatness. But that's what you're watching when you watch him play. You are watching greatness at his sport.
I'll tell you, it's kind of fascinating because for a long time the women sort of had the names that we knew a little bit more and some of those kind of things. And again, I haven't followed it like I used to, so I'm not going to sit here and act like whatever. I mean, I'm not doing that. But the number one seed won the women's French Open yesterday, and I could not have picked, or 2 days ago, and I could not have picked that person out of any lineup whatsoever and did not know their name.
Nothing.
And I could have named 40 tennis players on the women's side 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I grew up when it was Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova and was it Tracy Austin and Gabriella Sabatini and all of them.
Yeah, and that went into
Monica
Groff
Seles.
and Capriati and Celis and the whole deal.
Yeah, I mean, and I couldn't name one right now. I mean, I would literally have to sneak over here and pull up a list to name women's tennis players.
Yeah, I mean, I could do like the top 20 in the world rankings or whatever, the WTA, and we could probably play some game of is this a tennis player or some other occupation, and we would have no chance of getting it correct. Like, I don't know. Sure.
I'd be flipping a coin. I couldn't name one other than like Serena and Venus at this point. And they're basically done.
The top ranked American is ranked 5th in the world, and her name is Jessica Pegula. Do you know she existed?
I've heard the name before. Okay. Had you given me several hours to come up with the name, I don't think that I would have.
Coco Gauff at 7, know that. Yeah, for Americans. But Americans are 5 and 7, and there's not another American in the world rankings until 23, and that's Madison Keys.
Was not aware of Madison Keys. I'm sure
Sloane Stephens at 38. Yeah.
Yeah. Nope.
Completely a different generation. I just don't. I don't know these names. That entire group of kind of who I would have. I mean, like Kvitka is at 9, and that probably would have been the one I could pick out of a lineup out of the top 10. And the way you're reacting, you would have no idea about Kvitka. So yeah, I mean,
I know more golfers than I do. That tells you everything.
Yeah.
I could. Yeah.
Speaking of, did you see the golfer get trucked yesterday?
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Yeah. I mean, dude makes a 70-foot putt or whatever, and to win in, I guess it was like sudden death kind of thing, and
yeah.
His fellow Canadian comes out to celebrate with champagne, and the security guard, you can see it happening, and the security guard sees him, and his face goes, "Oh, I've got this guy," and he tackles him. And
did maybe the clothes with the logos all over it not give a little bit of a heads up? Because to set this up for people. It's the Canadian Open. It's the RBC Canadian Open. It's a PGA Tour event played in Canada, their nation's open. A Canadian has never won it in its 54-year history. Nick Taylor yesterday sinks a 72-foot putt on the 4th playoff hole to win the tournament. I mean, crazy situation there. And yes, he is celebrating. He's hugging his caddy, and Adam Hadwin, who is a fellow Canadian, remember with PGA Tour. I mean, he kind of comes out of nowhere, but he's got champagne and he's pumped up. And you can, as Neal said, you see the security guard. I mean, he was like a bull on a red, whatever those things are called, like the red sheet. And he is zoning in. And I mean, it's a form tackle.
Oh,
and
I mean,
there was one dude
right between the numbers, just. Yeah.
There's like 10 people who just kind of look around and are stunned. And then one guy who you could tell worked for the tour that's going, oh my God. No, that's a golfer. That's Adam Hadwin. Like, he's freaking out. And what went through my head was, do you know, because they can be drama queens in all ways, golfers. Had that been like a really world ranked top 10 golfer who got just obliterated by that cop right there, or that security guard right there. I mean, had that been Rory or somebody, that's dominating everything for the next whatever. I mean, good God. I mean,
well, and I mean, look, I've never been a security guard. I'm sure it's a harder job than I think it is.
But what are we thinking is going to happen? What is like?
The guy.
They have champagne. He's not running with a golf club at his head.
You've been on a tournament. I presume that wasn't day one on the job. You've been out there all week. These guys all kind of look the same. They're all pretty fit.
Mm-hmm.
They all wear the golf hat. They wear a golf polo. They wear the golf kind of performance pants. They all have the same.
And they have sponsors all over them.
They have a belt, and they all have sponsors all over their stuff. And he's not out there with a billy club or a gun. It's a bottle of champagne that he is spraying. Okay? Now, there's some hints here. There are some hints that he means no harm. Also, his face, he's got a big smile on his face. He's not attacking him with champagne spray. Okay? There might just be a clue at, hey, bub, it's going to be all right. But no. It was a tackle that would have made Ronnie Lott proud. It was.
This is my green, and by God, I'm going to protect it. And
I mean,
this guy has come on my green.
Pete Golding will take that clip and show it to his players and say, this is how I want you to attack the ball carrier. I mean, it was that kind of thing. It was just, you got to wonder, like in that moment where he goes, hey, dude, you just attacked a fellow tour member. You got to wonder what the reaction was to that.
Yeah, most likely one of the dude who won's 3 or 4 best friends in the world because he's on tour with him. He's Canadian. Like,
all right, I'm going to give Ginger this because in the event that what he said was, "Oh my God, you're not wasting that champagne on my watch." If that were the case, then it's justified completely. Otherwise, he's got a problem.
Well, he will not be security for the Canadian Open next year, will he?
No. I mean, again, he wasn't out swinging a driver like, I'm going to take you out. He's spraying champagne. It's kind of a universal symbol of celebration. I'm going to guess my guy has never been around a lot of champagne, hadn't sprayed a lot of champagne. He was very, the look on his face was so serious.
He had one job, and he did his job.
He did it.
You protect. That's what you do. What's the NBA line tonight?
Oh, I hadn't even seen a line. I'm guessing it's like Denver minus 6.5.
I'm pulling it up. We'll close here. Denver by 9.
Oh, that's a big number.
Yeah.
Although
over under 208.5.
If you told me tonight's a blowout, I'll buy it.
The Heat are 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games following a loss.
Yeah. They're a proud team. They're a good team. They're a well-coached team. But, man, they're walking into a spot here.
If you want a money line, Denver's minus 400. Miami's plus 310. That's a no-touch both ways.
Speaking of assaults, what did you think of Conor McGregor taking out the Heat mascot, Bernie?
He's going to be fine. He's back for Game 6. Bolster said if they get back to Miami, it's going to be all right. He's not going to miss any action. Had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
But he's healthy.
Well, that's not what Bernie was prepared for.
Number one, look, that's on Conor because what are you doing? Why are we hitting the mascot actually hard enough to cause anything? But it's one of those things that works better with the conference table where they go, hey, you know what? Let's get the professional fighter to hit our mascot as part. No, stop. Just unless he's really clear that we're just kind of.
Yeah. Well, and he hit him.
Although I'll be honest, I don't know. And now I don't know if McGregor would fit this or not. I have no clue. I don't watch enough mixed martial arts to have an answer. But I've watched those videos, though, where even like 30% punch power from a professional fighter is enough to really bowl you over. I mean, there's probably a misunderstanding on just how fierce even light power is from those guys compared to us getting punched.
Yeah, that would have been you and me are in the same boat. Around the table when you're talking about this, you got to go, hey, but listen, guys, this is not a fighter. He's not used to taking punches. He doesn't know how to take a punch. He's in a mascot uniform. you got to make sure that if we're going to do this, McGregor has to completely understand that he doesn't really hit him.
Mm-hmm.
This has to be
At
professional.
all.
Yeah, he doesn't even make contact. He just throws a pretend swing, doesn't actually hit Bernie. Bernie goes down, and we have our little skit. He can't accidentally hit Bernie because there's a human being inside Bernie, right? That's not used to getting hit by professional fighters.
Yeah, if he hits Rampage, he's not hitting a bison or whatever the hell he is. Like, he's hitting a human. So, yeah. It's
you're and it's Rumble, by the way.
Rumble, sorry, not
Thank you.
Rampage. I
Thank you.
apologize. Okay. I remembered as I said it, yeah.
But yeah, that's
Does he still bang the drums?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, he's good. We're coming.
Okay. All right.
It's happening.
All right. Just curious. All right. We got two baseball games tonight. We got some NBA Finals tonight. Tomorrow night, I think, is Game 5 of the NHL, where the Knights can clinch the cup against the Panthers. That is in Vegas for Game 5 of that one. And then whatever else happens on the Ole Miss beat, have some baseball coverage as the day goes on. Again, I expect the portal to pick up a good bit, probably starting even tomorrow. I think that's possible through the rest of the week, and then we'll see where everything else goes from there. So I hope all of you have a wonderful day. Stay safe. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.